Alright, so I'm here to explain my budget breakdown and to explain to you exactly how I'm going to allocate the funds that I'm requesting on this pledge drive. Alright, so breaking down my budget, 16.5. Sounds like a ridiculous number. I don't usually spend money on anything, so that's kind of overwhelming. You know, I definitely don't have that kind of money. But that being said, I have put about $3,000 into this project already. So when I'm asking for 16.5, the amount of money that I've already put into it is going to demonstrate the seriousness and the amount of passion that I have for this project. So please keep that in mind. I've put money into this. I want you to be passionate about what I'm working on as well. For those of you that don't understand how Kickstarter works, they do take fees from the creator of a project, which I totally respect because they have a really great system. If you have clicked around the website, if you've looked at my Kickstarter and looked at the bios and looked at all that, that takes a lot of time and energy to create and maintain. So mad respect for that. So yes, understand that just fees are part of the process. Within this Kickstarter, I've already built in those fees as part of this budget. So I hope that doesn't offend you. But like I said, I have put a lot of money into this as well. So I'm hoping that you will share that burden with me. You know, money, I hate money. Money's awful. Everybody hates dealing with money, but unfortunately it does take money to make things. All right, phase one, planning. I've already had meetings with my developers on planning, so we kind of have a rough idea of how Patch Bay is going to flow. They did shoot me down on some of my ideas, but I plan on those to be development down the road, features that I want to use. But going back to planning, I'm going to allocate $2,000 for that. It does involve flow and content, so the flow of how everything is going to work and the content in which we are going to be collecting and redistributing. Phase 2, visual design. I'm a little nervous using photo elements that somebody else has done. So I'm looking to hire a photographer that's going to get me bands and fans and cityscape and everything that I can capture visually about Columbus and the music scene. I'm looking to get to contract out for that. And by the way, $1,500 is going to be allocated for visual elements. It also is going to include design. One of my developers is heavy in design and user experience, so that's going to be a huge element to that. I want people to like what they see. If you've looked at my landing page and you like what you see, get ready, because that's going to be a huge thing. People like to look at pretty things. Just fact of the matter. So I'm confident that the visual elements are going to be great. Phase 3, going into programming, that's going to be a huge chunk. Some of the heavy nitty-gritty programming, $4,000 allocated for that. Programming is going to include information architecture, accessibility, and readability. You want to be able to not just look at something pretty, but make sure that you can read all the elements. But I just want to make sure that I have good visual design and good programming underneath it. There are some sites that have really good programming, but the visuals are crap. So combining those two things is a huge undertaking. Number 4, migration and content support. Allocating $2,000 for that. And just to explain that a little bit, it's going to be like web browser compliance, making sure that everything's the same between Google, Safari, Internet Explorer, whatever other browser you use. I want to make sure that everybody, all the standards and all the compliance and everything is cohesive across all of those, because we all have different things, and we look at technology through different types of browsers and whatnot. So just make sure everybody's on the same page there. Research leads, which is huge. I'm creating a whole new marketing game here, and I'm not creating the marketing game, but audiences want. Understanding what your audiences want is a huge thing. So being able to, not to get all like Google scary up on you, but there's tremendous value in making sure that you're not just blasting to the people that don't care. And I'm trying to figure out exactly where my middle ground is. And that's why it's important during this Kickstarter campaign to drive traffic to my website. And I know it's just a landing page, so there's not a whole lot going on there, but how much interest is, you know, being raised through this whole process. So I'm really focused on seeing what time of day people are looking at websites. How's the flow going? You know, are people more last minute types of people, or do they like to plan things out? Those statistics and the data, you know, that's going to be hugely important to make sure that I am getting the right fans connected to the right bands. One of the biggest inspirations for this is people doing marketing wrong. We've got, like I said, we've got a lot of promotional dumps, and that doesn't tell you anything. In addition to Phase 4 is mobile compatibility. Just like with the browsers, we all have different phones and we access our internet and our apps and everything through different types of phones. So to make sure that it is a cohesive experience between all of those platforms is hugely important. For all of you audio engineers, you understand that it's important when you're mixing down music that you have not only a really awesome set of speakers in your studio, but you also want to have your really crappy, you know, desk speakers in your office. You want to mix on a variety of platforms. So I want to make sure that Patch Bay Columbus is appealing on a variety of platforms. Phase 5, client training and documentation. I kind of want to call this the ignorance fee. So in this phase, my developers, when they're doing all of this, you know, heavy-hitting black and white ones and zeros stuff that I don't really understand, they have to be able to explain that to me and you know, keep me along for the ride. So for them to really make sure that we're documenting everything properly, because like I said, we do have compliance, we do have a lot of details that we're going to need to have hard copies of. I don't speak computer language. I speak musician who wants an intuitive product to save me time. Phase 6, testing and launch. I'm allocating $2,000 for that. A side note on beta testing, all of my pledges are invited to an exclusive party when I get ready to launch Patch Bay in its beta phase. So, my pledges are going to be my beta testers. Basically, I want you to break my product. I want you to find out what's wrong with it. Please tell me everything that you see. Hopefully it's nothing, but I need feedback to make sure it is what you want. Phase 7 is marketing. I'm allocating $2,000 for that. That's going to include rewards for my pledges. It's going to include shipping costs should I have pledges that aren't local, which would be cool to have people who aren't local love Columbus music, which they already do, but that's for another video. And also social media promotions and unconventional marketing. I am trying to promote in unconventional ways because this is unconventional marketing. Another thing I want to explore are movie commercials between movies. You've got a lot of people sitting there, you know, just wasting time for the next flick to come on, and you know, that's a great way to start a conversation. Kind of an unusual thing, but you know, it's effective. So this Thursday, I'm recording an ad for Patch Bay Columbus. That's not part of this budget. I'm paying that out of pocket, so you don't have to worry about that. But as far as some more unconventional marketing techniques, going to do some YouTube. Since I'm making that ad, I'm going to do a long version and a short version and explore my options on how to target my market here locally with that on YouTube. YouTube has huge viewership numbers. Videos in general are huge. People love to watch videos. They don't always want to read text. The unconventional marketing is also going to include probably some trinkets, stickers. I think my LLC logo is freaking sweet. You know, and I reached out for help with that because I'm no Photoshop guru by any means. But you know, I'm really impressed with the bubble. I made that myself, so I feel really good about that. But man, I cannot make a note to save my life. But going back to the intellectual property, right, you have to have something made from scratch, so I can't just take a note, even though my note probably looks, you know, in shape like a lot of notes. But it was done by hand, so it was made by scratch, so no worries about that. Shout out to my friend Amy for helping me with that. You are a genius. A lifesaver and a time saver. Thank you so much. Phase number 8. Incidentals. I'm allocating $1,000 for any sort of oversight or accident that I should come across. That includes anything that we overlooked or anything that didn't work, that we might need to put some more money into it. I think it would be incredibly irresponsible to not have a bit of a buffer for things that we didn't plan for. All right, so as far as the big picture of the Kickstarter pledge drive, $16,500 is what I'm asking for. $1,500 for fees, $1,000 for incidentals. I'm allocating $1,000 within my visual design element for photography and other visual design elements that I will want to capture in the spirit of intellectual property rights. I want to be able to have my own materials to use as I see fit without worried about citing my sources. Plus, as a bonus, I'll be hiring a local person to capture local elements and maybe even parts of the city that I don't even know about. But this is what it's all about, is information, sharing information. I've also allocated $500 within my beta testing and launch phase just for promotions on that part. So in the end, my developers are going to get about looks to be 10.5 of my budget. So $5,000, or for other things, my developers are going to get about 10.5. So we've just got a lot of work to do. So I want to get ready. So please, if you love local music, please pay attention to what I'm doing. Take a look at my website, www.patchbaycolumbus.com. Please check me out. You're going to love what I'm creating.